In this video, we're going to take a look at Ice Brady and Morgan Cheli, as one is worrying and showing signs of Amari DeBerry, while the other is taking advantage of that and potentially flourishing with increased playing time. But before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. All right, let's get into this. Is Brady on thin ice?
The ice is gonna break!
It sure looks like it. The last two games have not been great for Ice Brady, as in both games she was benched in the second half as she started both games versus Notre Dame and Georgetown, and in the second half she did not start and they put Alfy in her place. Versus Notre Dame, her crime was giving up offensive rebounds, in my opinion, as Notre Dame in the first half got 10 offensive rebounds. And the post-game press conference was very reminiscent of after the Texas game, where Jana was like, after Texas, if we're going to get killed on the boards, then I might as well go small anyway and take advantage of three-point shooting.
And I think when we went smaller, I think we gave them problems. So I probably should have gone smaller earlier in the game. And I mean, if you're going to give up 21 offense, or if you're going to give up 16 offensive rebounds, and we got 2 second chance points. So if we're not going to get any second chance points anyway, might as well just play small. That's probably going to be the solution going forward. And that's an opportunity to get more threes. Right now, the lineup that we have out there doesn't have enough three-point shooters in it. So I got to figure out a way to get more people, more minutes that can make those.
And after the Notre Dame game, he was very clear they need to get more three-point shots.
2 concerns. One, we weren't able to get enough of them, okay? And then certainly we didn't make enough of them. I think the score was, 30-9 on threes, right? They made 10, we made 3.
Yeah.
That's a big, big, big deficit to try to come back on.
But he did not go out of his way to crush Ice Brady, but you could tell that they were not happy with her because obviously she did not start the third quarter. And I think it's fair to say this year they've been pretty gentle with Ice, or Gino has, in the press, trying to build her up because she's a very sensitive kid.
I thought last game and this game, I thought Ice defensively was good. I think she's she's not making shots right now. She's been struggling with it in practice as well, but I think defensively and being the only one that played last year, she has to be able to give us some things that the other two are trying to catch up on. But I think she's been really solid and she's been really patient. She's going to make some of those 15, 17 footers, which would really, really change how we play. But I've been really happy with, she's given us the things that we really, really need. That's a big thing. That's a big thing.
And he knows that she is already in her own head anyway, and just crushing her in the press will basically not help. But I think the tipping point came during the Georgetown game, as early on she gave up like 2 offensive rebounds. Actually, it was 2 offensive rebounds on the first possession Georgetown had. And then after that, Georgetown came back down again and they gave up another offensive rebound. And Brady had terrible boxing out on both of those. And sure enough, Jana Alfy came on as a sub in the first quarter at the 8:15 mark. Now, Brady did not get back on in the first half until the 1:16 mark in the second quarter, and part of that was Morgan Cheli played well, which we'll get into later, but the other part was she was paying for her sins, and then when she got back on, it didn't go well. It just was not her night. And in truth, that's not fair. Not your night is when you can't hit an outside shot, but straight away, she gave up another board, and you can see Gino Auriemma on the sideline raising his hands going, "Are you kidding me?" Then a few possessions later, with 18 seconds left, she picks up an obvious offensive foul when she's trying to post up, trying to clear out room. Then you can see Gino giving Jamel and probably CD, she's not in the frame, an earful about how annoyed he is. But it gets worse because Ice Brady finishes the half, fouling the player, taking a shot, giving up 2 shots. Now, in that frame, it seems like Gino's more annoyed with the officials, but it was not a good game for Ice Brady to start off with. You're supposed to get sort of your mojo back after you have a tough Notre Dame game. You're supposed to kick the hell out of Georgetown and get that confidence back, but that is not how it went for Ice Brady. In the postgame, when asked about Ice's minutes, he initially said that part of the plan was to get Morgan Cheli more minutes as she'd earned that.
Ice was on the bench for long stretches today. Just what were you seeing from her, and where are you trying to get her to at this point?
Well, it's not what I was seeing from her. It's what I was seeing from Morgan. And I, based on practices recently, I just made a commitment that I'm going to get Morgan more playing time.
And there was talk about how UConn would need to play small at some stages, and it was a good practice to play small and having Sarah Strong at the 5. But then he couldn't help himself. At one point, he talked about how Ashlyn Shade and Morgan Cheli, they know who they are and what they bring. So Morgan Cheli's bringing energy. Same thing with Ashlyn Shade. He knows what he's going to get from her. She's going to bring energy.
The object of every kid that steps on the floor, comes to practice, plays in the game, whatever the case may be, is that they have an identity. This is who I am, and this is what I bring every single day. Right? So you look at somebody like Caitlin or KK or Ash. This is what I bring. This is who I am. You can count on me to do this every night. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be hard for you to get the success that you want.
And the message was clear regarding Ice Brady is he just doesn't know what he's going to get from her. And then later on, he was asked about Audie Crooks. And once again, he used that for subtle digs at Ice Brady, saying, I wish I had her, and then went on back to what he was previously saying, basically that Audie Crooks, she knows what she brings, and she brings it every time. That's what makes her so valuable.
I wish we had her. Let's put it that way. There's just a presence, obviously, that she has, that when she comes down the floor, it's a problem for every team that they play. I don't care who the other team has, they're going to have a problem with her. And that's what I was talking about. Like, you have to know who you are, you have to know what you bring, and then you have to deliver that every single night. And she does. And she's young, right? She, I think this is her second year, right? So it hasn't taken her long to, get acclimated to college basketball. But when you have what she has, it's something that very few people in the country have. So she's a difference maker, as they say.
Now, some of this, I don't know if he's trying to get in Ice's head and get her fired up for Iowa State and see if she can bring it against Audie Crooks, but it's undeniable the signs are a bit worrying for Ice Brady, as her development looks very similar to that of Amari DeBerry. DeBerry had a very underwhelming freshman season. Ice Brady actually missed her freshman year and redshirted due to her knee injury, so she's been around UConn now 3 years. You thought she would come out stronger her freshman, or her real freshman year, which is actually her second year being at UConn, but she struggled last year. And then much like DeBerry, the articles came out that she's in much better shape and they expect more from her and they really think it's going to go well. It's striking because I've got this Amari DeBerry article right there where they talk about how she, in her first year, she couldn't finish practice and how much further along she is and how they hope it will go better. And it's much the same way them trying to build up Ice Brady this year. But when you sign to come to UConn, you know what the gig is. You only get so many chances. This is not a small school where they can develop you year after year and hope it pays off in your junior and senior year. As well, I can't find the actual interview where Deschamps said this, Caroline Deschamps, but she said, at UConn, every year somebody new is coming in to take your spot. That's just the way it is. And for Ice Brady, her poor play allowed Morgan Cheli to get more minutes, Although Gina said she was always going to get more minutes based on how she was practicing. Like early on when she came back from her injury, he talked about how well she was fitting in. Take a listen to this. This was right before, I believe, the UNC game, the pregame.
Oh, Morgan Cheli? She's a different cat, man. She's a weirdo. Like, she's a perfectionist sort of kid. And she's missed so much practice. Like September, big chunks of October. And you would think, man, this kid's gonna have a hard time catching up to anything that we're doing. And the minute you put her out there and practice with like the other guys, she fits right in and plays like she's been here 3 years and makes things happen, you know? So she gives us a luxury of a big guard or a small forward, you know? The kind of players that I really, really like, and she was exceptionally well coached in high school. You know, Sue Phillips did a fantastic job with her. Used to winning, and just knows how to play.
And given the opportunity against Georgetown, she took advantage. If you look while she was in the lineups, she was plus 12, the lineups that she was in the second quarter. And that is why I say Ice Brady is on thin ice, because UConn has options as well. Jana Alfy, her numbers are, if you look at it, traditional box score, their numbers are very similar per game. So Alfy averages 6.4 points per game. Ice Brady is 5.7. But if you look at their per 40 minutes, Ice is averaging just over 10 points and Alfy over 15 points per 40 minutes. In addition, if you look at their team on-off numbers, how it impacts the team performance, Jana Alfy is plus 0.6 versus Ice Brady, who is minus 13. The one that's real striking is defense. So defense is plus 16.8 worse with Ice on the court. It goes down by minus 12.2 when Alfy's on the court, putting them in the 86th percentile in the country, versus when Ice is on the court, their defensive rating is 4 in the country, like not a good 4. That's down low, like at the bottom. So I think the next week is going to be very important for Ice. So first of all, she needs to play well against Iowa State, of course, and Audie Crooks. She will presumably get more playing time in that game, and as well versus USC, who also has Kiki Arieffin and Rhea Marshall. But if she does not play well, I think that she is on a very short leash, and Gino would be happy just to go small with Sarah Strong and maybe Morgan Cheli or other options, obviously. Alfy playing the 5, improving the defense, and having Sarah Strong at the 4. Anyway, I hope Ice Brady figures it out and has a good couple of games, because she does seem like a nice kid. And the last 2 games were brutal to watch, as you could tell that she was in her own head. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night.